This guide has been sponsored by Warhammer 40K Darktide. Alright, this is a game about big old piles of grumpy enemies being constantly thrown at you. So here are a few of my personal favorite weapon types that will quickly delete them. By the way, if you haven't acquired Darktide yet, I put a link to it on Steam down in the description. And hey, if you're new here, hit subscribe. First up, the Flamethrower, which is one of the exclusive weapons that the Zealot Preacher can get. Check this thing out. This can quickly bathe an entire area in kind of ridiculous degen if you get the right combination of stats for it. The Flamethrower unlocks for the Zealot Preacher at level 8 and is one of the main defining properties of why you might just pick that class. It lacks the precise spike damage needed for taking down long-range targets, but for giant groups of enemies, the Flamethrower is top tier. Looking now at the basics of what this thing does. On the left-click attack, you can shoot out a quick burst of fire, which is useful if you need to stay mobile. Holding down right-click will put you into a slower-moving firing mode where you can continually fire. Its special action is a little melee pushback, which you probably won't need to use since everything close range is likely already corpsed. It has a fairly generous ammo capacity and luckily a pretty fast reload and weapon ready speed. Although your character does slow down a lot when you're using its primary function, dodging can help you move around a little bit faster, or you can pop the Zealot Preacher's main ability, Chastise the Wicked, to propel yourself forward without needing to stop shooting. On this specific one I'm using, it has a bonus damage modifier on it at 71% extra and a 77% cloud radius. That's an important stat for this weapon since it dictates the flame's overall range, area of effect, and suppression, which is going to lessen some of that incoming enemy gunfire. Burn is also important obviously, and this one is at a 80% bonus, which dictates the total amount of burn stacks it can apply and how quickly it can stack them. This burn damage is normally pretty ineffective on fully armored enemies, but using the few seconds of bonus armor penetration you gain after activating Chastise the Wicked lets you temporarily chew straight through those carapace enemies. Now checking out the main damage properties of this Flamethrower, it's strongest against Infested, Flak Armored, and Maniac types. Carapace Armored is what it's least effective against, unless you counter that with the last tip I just told you. You don't get a huge weak spot or critical bonus from this weapon, but its frequent pulses of burning degen and light stagger make it quite effective at stalling and clearing out hordes. All of that together, and this can apply tons of the burn effect quickly with surprisingly good reach. So if you're looking for a powerful crowd control weapon, the Flamethrower is certainly one of the best ones you'll find. Next is the MK-VLD Recon Lasgun, which shoots rapid-fire lasers that are not too accurate but are highly effective against hordes. This gun becomes available at level 13 for the Psyker-Cybernetic and the Veteran Sharpshooter. This comes with a visual ammo meter slapped right onto the side of it, and its primary fire has a somewhat sporadic spread, especially at long range. And its special action flips on a simple flashlight. One of the main stats you should aim for on this is just raw damage, since the individual laser blasts start out pretty weak by default. The ammo stat is also important to increase the overall magazine size and give you a solid enough ammo reserve to account for its fast fire rate. This weapon synergizes really well when combined with the Veteran Sharpshooter's sustained fire skill, which will instantly reload your gun when you activate the volley fire ability. If you carefully watch your ammo counter on the gun itself or down in the corner, you can pop volley fire right before you need to reload to be able to continually shoot for double the amount of time. Looking at its raw damage values, it's most effective against unarmored, infested, and flak armored, least effective against carapace armored. This inflicts very light stagger, but does receive a decent bonus when hitting weak spots or when getting critical hits. So overall, the MK-VLD Recon Lasgun is a quick DPS machine, and its built-in spread pattern helps to hit enemies off to the side of your target. If spray and pray is what you seek, this is definitely one to consider. Next up is the MK3 Trauma Staff, which has the unique ability to ground target an AoE in a growing radius. Although this staff can build up peril fairly quickly, it makes up for it with strong area damage. Its left-click attack is the staff's normal range projectile. Holding down right-click will start an expanding circle on the ground, and a left-click will detonate it. It has the staff's ability to quell peril, and its special action is a sequence of simple melee strikes. The blast radius stat can really change the potency of this staff, modifying not only the overall size of the AoE, but also the epicenter radius. The damage stat is important as well, since it improves the effect of both the inner and outer rings damage. Towards the center of the circle, most regular enemies will be destroyed, and anyone on the outer edges will be blasted back. Although it is stronger when you charge it all the way up, you can quickfire this over and over for smaller repeat detonations. Now checking out the main damage values on the area of effect attack. It's highly effective against just about everything, and its stagger is surprisingly high as well. Overall, the Trauma Staff is a high-risk, high-reward option for the Psyker, and it's a unique change of pace compared to the playstyle of all the other weapon types. It can be risky to use when you're swarmed from all sides, but if your frontliners are doing their job, this thing allows you to sit back and nuke the entire place. And last up, we have the twin-linked heavy stub, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's a giant heavy machine gun. It's slow, takes forever to reload, but will guarantee anything in front of you will die. This is only wieldable by the large Ogren class, since the weapon itself is about as big as a normal human. Looking at its basic functions, the standard firing mode impedes your movement less, but does have pretty strong kick. Holding right-click will flip out its handle, which greatly slows your movement, but improves weapon handling. Its special action is a big ol' smack with the side of the gun, and this thing's reload animation is incredibly long. The melee attack isn't too useful for damage, but it is pretty effective at knocking enemies down when you're in a hurry. Using the braced firing mode is going to be the primary way this weapon is used, but it's risky since your movement is so limited. However, using your dodge followed by crouching lets you slide a decent distance backwards while firing, or you can do this to the side to do kind of like a strafe shot. Looking at its main damage values, it's strongest against unarmored, infested, and maniac, but weak against carapace armored. Overall, the twin-linked heavy stub will crunch through just about anything. Its super high ammo capacity and beefy damage make up for its general lack of accuracy. If this is pointed straight into a pile though, that won't really matter too much. Now for a few quick honorable mentions that nearly made it on my list. The Psyker's Purgatus staff is also pretty solid, functioning somewhat similar to the Flamethrower. This staff isn't too costly with peril buildup and gives the Psyker a pretty good close-ranged option. The veteran sharpshooter can get the Power Sword, which is a surprisingly effective melee weapon. Its special action imbues the blade with electricity, which inflicts extra damage for a few hits in quick succession. On the melee side of things, I'm interested in which ones you think are top tier, so let me know. And for the Ogren, the Grenade Gauntlet is also a strong choice for just about everything. Its primary attack swings the large gauntlet around. The secondary fire shoots an explosive grenade, and its special action bashes the thing straight into someone and detonates a drastically stronger explosion. That's it, those were my picks, and a big special thanks to Fat Shark for sponsoring this video today. You can use that link I have down below to grab Darktide for yourself, or you can gift it to a buddy on Steam. As always, I'm Alex, thanks for watching this to the very end, and have a good one.